Good morning, everyone. It's November 30th, 2018. The Pentagon fails audit. $21 trillion in transactions could not be traced, documented, or explained. This comes from Liberty Blitzkrieg. It makes you wonder what kind of terrorist attack is going to happen on our soil as a result of this failed audit. War is a racket. It always has been, and it is possibly the oldest, easily most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people. Only a small inside group knows what it is about. It is conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the very many. Out of war, a few people make huge profits. That comes from War is a Racket by General Smedley Butler. The following story's been on my radar for a while, but it wasn't until I read the fictional-sounding article published in The Nation yesterday that I finally turned my focus on the issue. To give you a sense of what's going on when it comes to unimaginable levels of waste, secrecy, and probable fraud occurring in the U.S. Department of Defense, check out the first couple of paragraphs from this must-read article. On November 15th, Ernst & Young and other private firms that were hired to audit the Pentagon announced that they could not complete the job. Congress had ordered an independent audit of the Department of Defense, the government's largest single cost center. The Pentagon receives 2 of every 3 federal tax dollars collected after the Pentagon failed 2 or 4 decades to audit itself. The firms concluded, however, that the DoD's financial records were riddled with so many bookkeeping deficiencies, irregularities, and errors that a reliable audit was simply impossible. Deputy Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan tried to put the best face on things, telling reporters, "We failed the audit, but we never expected to pass it." Shanahan suggested that the DoD should get credit for attempting an audit, saying it was an audit on a $2.7 trillion organization, so the fact that we did the audit is substantial. The truth, though, is that the DoD was dragged kicking and screaming to this audit by bipartisan frustration in Congress, and the result, had this been a major corporation, likely would have been a crashed stock. For decades, the DoD's leaders and accountants have been perpetrating a gigantic, unconstitutional accounting fraud, deliberately cooking the books to mislead the Congress and drive the DoD's budget even higher, regardless of military necessity. The fraud works like this. When the DoD submits its annual budget request to Congress, it sends along the prior year's financial reports, which contain fabricated numbers. The fabricated numbers disguise the fact that the DoD does not always spend all of the money Congress allocates in a given year. However, instead of returning such unspent funds to the Treasury, as the law requires, the Pentagon sometimes launders and shifts such monies to other parts of the DoD's budget. Veteran Pentagon staffers say that this practice violates Article 1, Section 9 of the U.S. Constitution. Of course, we all know that the Constitution no longer applies because our government became a corporation. This Pentagon accounting fraud is deja vu all over for Spinney. Back in the 1980s, he and a handful of other reform-minded colleagues exposed how the DoD used similar accounting tricks to inflate Pentagon spending and to accumulate money for off-the-books programs. DoD routinely overestimated inflation rates for weapon systems, Spinney recalled. When actual inflation turned out to be lower than the estimates, they did not return the excess funds to the Treasury as required by law, but slipped them into something called a merged surplus account. A merged surplus account. In that way, the Pentagon was able to build up a slush fund of almost $50 billion, about $120 billion in today's money, Spinney added. He believes that similar tricks are being used today to fund secret programs, possibly including U.S. Special Forces activity in Niger. That program appears to have been undertaken without Congress's knowledge of its true nature, which only came to light when a Special Forces unit was ambushed there last year, resulting in the deaths of 4 U.S. soldiers. In all, at least a mind-boggling $21 trillion of Pentagon financial transactions between 1998 and 2015 could not be traced, documented, or explained. Excluded Skidmore. To convey the vastness of that sum, $21 trillion is roughly 5 times more than the entire federal government spends in a year. It is greater than the U.S. gross national product, the world's largest, at an estimated $18.8 trillion. And that $21 trillion includes only plugs that were disclosed in reports by the Office of Inspector General, which does not review all of the Pentagon's spending. Yeah, kind of expect some planes to go flying through some buildings, or maybe a building falling in its own, footprint at the speed of gravity, free fall speeds. Kind of expect these things to happen when $21 trillion goes missing from the Pentagon. I mean, $21 trillion. $21 trillion. That's a shitload of money. And the thing is, the government, the people that do this, they will never pay for their crimes against the people of the United States. This money has been stolen from you. This money has been stolen from your children. And the money that Donald Rumsfeld came out and talked about the day before 9/11, that too was stolen from you. That too was stolen from your children. That too was stolen from your future. And you're going to sit and take the shit. And you're going to sit and do nothing about it. You're going to accept $21 trillion. You add that other, $9 trillion? That's $30 trillion that we know about. You're going to sit there and accept that $30 trillion has been stolen from you and your children. That's enough to house and feed every man, woman, and child on this planet. Priorities, right? Priorities. Anyway, thought I'd share this one with you. I hope that you all have a good day. Till next time, kill the state, live free.